Good morning. This is the third lecture on Compton effect. We have derived the expression for lambda dash minus lambda is equal to 2h divided by m0 c into sine square phi divided by 2 in the last lecture, and we have also seen interpretation of this equation. Now, while talking about interpretation of this expression, which is for Compton effect, I told that the wavelength of electron found in this case, wavelength change, the wavelength change of the photon found in this case when electron is the target is about 0.024 angstrom. The maximum change in the wavelength of the photon is 0.08 angstrom when the angle phi is 180 degrees. The electron may be replaced by any other mass, maybe by a proton, maybe by an atom. X-ray photons may be replaced by visible light photons. Wavelength of X-ray photons is about 1 angstrom, whereas wavelength of visible photons is lying from see the difference. Wavelength of X-ray photon is about 1 angstrom. Wavelength change, which can be noted in the Compton effect when electron is considered, whose mass is 9.11 10 to the power minus 31 kg, is 0.024 angstrom, maximum 0.048 angstrom, several percent of 1 angstrom. But if we consider the photons of visible light having wavelength 4200 angstrom minimum wavelength, maximum 7200 angstrom, we will find that the wavelength change of the photon is very small. Wavelength change in photon is very small because the percentage change in wavelength of these photons in the Compton effect is very small. You may call may not be observed. It is too small that it may not be observed. One thing. Second thing, if you replace electron by any other mass, electron is the lightest particle. If you go for any other mass, that mass may be billions of times more than mass of the electron, and therefore the wavelength change in Compton effect may be undetected if we go for the target as massive and the photon instead of X-ray photon to the visible photon. This type of experimental setup was used by Arthur H. Compton. This is the source of X-rays. Okay, these are the collimators, because from the source of X-rays, the X-rays will be moving in the diverging form. From the source of X-rays, X-rays will be moving in the diverging form. We want to convert this into a small beam, and it can be done with the help of the collimators. So we have a pair of collimators here which will convert the diverging beam of X-rays into a very fine beam of X-rays. Here we have a target. This target in Compton effect is electron. When the X-ray photon falls on the electron, some X-ray photon gets scattered, and these are the unscattered X-ray photons. Angle between these is phi. Angle between the direction of the unscattered X-ray photons and scattered X-ray photons is phi. This angle plays important role because in the equation of lambda dash minus lambda is equal to 2h divided by m0 c sine square phi by 2. Phi is there. So this phi is playing very important role. 2 is constant, h is constant, m0 rest mass of the given target here is constant, c velocity of light, it is also constant. What is going to change is the angle phi, and therefore this angle phi plays very important role in deciding change in wavelength of the photon after scattering from the electron. Here we have X-ray spectrometer. Here we have X-ray spectrometer to have photograph, to have observation of the scattered photon, to have the spectrum corresponding to have observation of the spectrum corresponding to the scattered photon. This is the path of this X-ray spectrometer. It can be moved this way. It can be moved this way so that at any position on this path, the spectrum of the scattered photon can be seen. And when we see the spectrum of scattered photon in the X-ray spectrometer, we find that this spectrum has a substantial portion. When we study spectrum of the scattered X-ray photon, we find that the spectrum has substantial part of the initial photon. Substantial. It has the substantial portion of the incident photon. Let us try to see and study the spectrum of X-ray photon at different scattering angle phi. For this we have to draw few figures. Let me wipe out this figure and go for the other one. Lambda, this will be relative magnitude, or you can have intensity. Figure number 3. In this figure, you will find the spectrum of scattered X-ray photon seen through the X-ray spectrometer. When the angle phi is 0, what does this mean? There is no scattering of the photon. Photon moves in the same direction of incidence from the target, and so the scattering angle phi is 0. And what we find there is no delta lambda. No delta lambda. One maxima is seen at single wavelength. Only one maxima is seen. This is only one maxima seen at this wavelength, and this wavelength is corresponding to wavelength of the incident X-ray photon. There is no change in wavelength of the X-ray photon if it does not get scattered from the target. Figure 2 from figure 3. Angle of scattering is 45 degree. The incident photon gets scattered through angle 45 degree. This lambda is corresponding to wavelength of incident photon. This is known as the substantial portion of incident photon, and this lambda is corresponding to wavelength of scattered photon. We know frequency of incident photon is more, frequency of scattered photon is small. Therefore, wavelength of incident photon is small and wavelength of scattered photon is large. This is the delta lambda, difference between wavelength of scattered photon and wavelength of the incident photon. This delta lambda corresponding to lambda dash minus lambda. This difference seen here is smaller one as phi is small. Figure 3 from figure 2. This wavelength is corresponding to the incident photon. This wavelength is corresponding to the scattered photon. This is the difference between these two wavelengths at the scattering angle 90 degree. Figure 4 from figure 3. This is the relative magnitude or intensity, and this is corresponding to wavelength of the incident photon. This is corresponding to wavelength of the scattered photon. This delta lambda is lambda dash minus lambda, difference between wavelength of the scattered photon and that of the incident photon. This corresponding to the substantial portion of the incident photon X-ray. So what conclusion can be drawn from these figures? The conclusion that can be drawn from these figures is that for the angles phi, for which value of sine is more, difference between the wavelengths is more. If phi is 180 degree, sine phi by 2 is sine 90, that is corresponding to 1, and lambda dash minus lambda will be 2h divided by m0c. The largest change in wavelength of the scattered X-ray photon. We have plotted here the spectrum observed by using the X-ray spectrometer. In getting these spectrum from the X-ray spectrometer and in getting the equation lambda dash minus lambda is equal to 2h divided by m0c into sine square phi by 2, what we have assumed, what assumptions made? The assumptions made are the target placed in figure number 2. The target placed in figure number 2 is an electron. But it is not possible to isolate single electron from atom of some material and place it as a target for collision between the X-ray photon and the electron. It is not possible. So what is assumed? Some materials are placed there such that in the valence shell of the atoms of that material, few electrons are there which are very loosely bound. And further it is assumed that the incident photon directly collide with the electron in the valence shell, and therefore there is collision between the electron and the incident X-ray photon. In that case only all these things are true and the quantum effect is observable, detectable. Many times if we select the target such that the electron is strongly bound with the atom in the valence shell, in such cases when the incident photon of X-ray collide with the electron, actually it gets collide with the atom, and instead of single electron the whole atom gets recoiled. And as you know, mass of atom is thousands of times more, tens of thousand times more than mass of electron. Mass of an atom is tens of thousand times more than mass of electron, and therefore m0 coming in our expression, lambda dash minus lambda is equal to 2h divided by m0c. This m0 is very large as compared to m0 for the electron. As this m0 is very large, lambda dash minus lambda c is so small that it may not be detected, it may not be observed using the X-ray spectrometer in the Compton effect. And therefore, whenever you are selecting the target for collision with the X-ray photon, you have to select the target such that the X-ray photon should not get collide with the whole atom. The atom should not get recoiled after collision with the X-ray photon. Instead, single electron must get collide from the valence shell of the atom with the incident X-ray photon, and because of which there will be scattering of the photon, the electron gets recoiled, and we can find change in wavelength of the photon after scattering. This change is visible, notable, observable or detectable. If this is not true, the change in wavelength of the scattered photon will not be detectable if whole atom is going to recoil. These things are to be kept in mind while performing the Compton effect experiment. This is about the Compton effect. Hope you understood this. If you have any questions, you can convey your questions to me. Thank you.